that
What
to
does
come to
that look like
fruition.
from a sports psych point of view? And I mean, this would be a brilliant lesson for anyone who's, whether it's in work, whether it's for their kids. What does that look like from what you're telling yourself when you kind of do feel a bit shit,
Yeah.
but you know that you have to be at your best for a certain moment?
Yeah, I think it comes back to the work. Like when you know you've put in the time and the effort and you've dedicated yourself to your craft, it doesn't mean we have to be perfect all the time, because
Yeah.
I certainly was not. But I had enough years, enough time under my belt knowing I'd put in the effort and I'd put myself in the best position to do well. So even if mentally I was, not feeling my best or physically I was fatigued, if I got myself in that right mindset of being like, that's okay, I acknowledge I don't feel great right now, but
Yeah.
I trust that my body, the muscle memory and the mechanics will take over, and I've just got to stand on that board and be confident, not be like, oh, I feel shit, I feel tired, I'm not in a good headspace. It's probably not going to go very well.
Yeah.
But regardless, if I could put myself in a positive frame of mind and know that I was there to perform and have a great opportunity to perform, then yeah, it was a great example of how that is possible.
Yeah. How important is it? You spoke about muscle memory and just kind of the evidence that you've built over a period of time. How important was goal setting and planning for you to build up that evidence through training, other competitions, so that when the crunch came,
Yeah.
you could call on that?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been one of those people that loves a plan. So I sort of struggle without that structure. But even if it wasn't, I didn't so much set goals and have performance-based goals, or like I want to get this amount of points, or I want to, win a gold medal. It was always just I want to perform to my ability, and I want to on the day get the best out of myself. But I also took away the pressure of, if that didn't happen, and the end of my career was a perfect example of that, that it's not the end of the world, and like time goes on and we try again and get back up the next time. So yeah, I think stripping it all back, I liked having a plan for training day to day and having that purpose. But in terms of those big goals and the performance-based goals, I sort of just let that take care of itself.
You washed over that. That was a pretty big moment. You said you were finished fifth.
Yes.
But you were second place going into the last dive.
Yeah.
Talk to me about, I know that there was a mishap, you went off the side or not quite executed as per you would normally. You've got the responsibility of, because obviously synchronise, if you're going off the side, I'm tipping you're not in flow with your teammate.
Yeah.
What was that like in the moment? How did it feel missing that opportunity? And did you know it was going to be your last event at that time?
Yeah, so going into Paris, I knew I sort of had the thoughts of retiring a couple of times in years prior to that, but the timing just felt right in Paris. I knew that was going to be my last Olympic Games, last event for diving. So going in there, Maddie and I had great results, so we were in a really good position to do well and just felt ready, felt confident. And yeah, sort of nothing really, you can do all the preparation in the world, and I don't know, maybe it's like a grand final, like you can feel ready, have all the processes in place, but you can't really replicate the feeling of a grand final, or you can't replicate the feeling of an Olympic final in a training environment. It's just completely different and hard and whatever, but you expect that. So yeah, we've compete 5 different dives, and the first 4 went really well. We don't look at the scoreboard. We don't get distracted by that because there's 7 other teams performing, and that's up to them. We can't control that. So I knew though we were doing well, and we'd done 4 solid dives. So yeah, going into that last dive, I definitely remember having a moment after the 4th dive being like, okay, just that's done, on to the next. Like I didn't have these thoughts of like, oh my gosh, we're going to win a medal go through my head. I controlled that pretty well. So did the same processes. We both put on our own music. We're just sitting there, and then we get up, start moving around again and go see our coaches. And yeah, I'm the person that counts in our synchro pair. So we stood up there for our final dive, and the whole thing's silent, and you can like hear a pin drop, and I say, ready, go. And then we just know what to do after that. We do our hurdle, which is the sort of approach where you walk and then you jump towards the end of the board. And on that final jump, I was, 2 feet sort of right on the right side of the board, and my right foot almost sort of slipped off. And it was all a blur after then, but I somehow still managed to do the dive, which I think most people were like, I'm surprised you could still do that. And most people probably would have just failed the dive and fallen off the board, but managed to do it. But I screamed underwater as soon as I hit the water, because I just knew in that moment I'd just let that fully slip away. And to be honest, I was mainly concerned about I just let down Maddie, and our coaches, like, we had
Yeah.
that medal pretty much around our neck, and I just, like, took it off our necks and put it on the next person. So, yeah, just devastated that we'd done so much work and we were so prepared, and to think that, you don't train that era. That doesn't really
Mm.
happen that often, and I could probably count on one hand over my career how many times that had happened. So, yeah, super disappointed, and proud obviously that we still came fifth, but just sad that it was going to end that way. But very quickly had to wrap my head around it and realize, like, it's a mistake. Maddie, we've been together for 10 years in that
Yeah.
synchro pairing, so know each other back to front, and she was really great wrapping me up, and the coaches were the same. But took a little while to
How important is
process.
that self-talk though? Like, you've obviously previously done the work of separating Belle the diver to Belle the human. Clearly the two come together in the performance
Yeah.
moments. Like, do you think people have an unrealistic view out there of what goes through an athlete's mind in that moment?